If Christopher Columbus took to the seas again today, it is not America that he would discover, but a continent of plastic. Millions of bags mixed with other plastic residues in suspension in the water form gigantic floating patches of plastic at the gates of Europe and in all the oceans of the planet. And the oceans are not the only natural environments to be affected by the accumulation of plastic bags. Their impact on innumerable species, including our own, is a matter of great concern.
But the other thing we're not talking about enough yet is the microlitter. Plastic breaks down into smaller and smaller fragments. It becomes more and more accessible for a lot of wildlife to start eating it, and that goes into the food chain.
Yet these plastic bags are so commonplace in an urban context that we don't even notice their presence on markets or in the streets before they drift away and start to clutter up nature. The behaviour of each and every consumer and shopkeeper is part and parcel of the phenomenon. One thing is sure, as far as plastic bags are concerned, the citizen holds in his hand both the problem and perhaps the solution. Approximately 100 billion plastic bags are used in the EU every year. That's over 190,000 bags per minute. On average, every EU citizen uses around 200 bags per year. Only 6.6% of plastic bags are recycled in the EU. 50% of them go to landfill, and over 8% of them end up as litter every year. Once discarded into the environment, plastic bags can last for over 100 years, mostly in their fragmented form as plastic litter. Millions of tons of plastic litter end up in the seas every year. This is not without harmful consequences. At least 267 marine species are known to get entangled in plastic debris or to ingest it. 95% of northern fulmars found on beaches in the northeast Atlantic have 35 pieces of plastic in their stomach. Plastic litter affects the whole food chain. Shouldn't we be doing something to stop it? In order to do this, the European Commission has decided to propose a law obliging member states to set up their own strategies. Why not take inspiration from the Irish, who in 2002 set up a special levy on the use of single-use plastic bags? Just a price on the bag did the trick.
A tax is something that lasts forever. A levy is a charge that over a period of time could evaporate and wane into a nil point. So long as you keep purchasing the bag, there will be a levy in existence. So long as you continue to reduce your usage of the bag, the levy will vanish.
The money that's raised from the tax goes into something called the Environment Fund. And that fund is used mainly for two purposes: to fund waste infrastructure and also to fund environmental research. So the tax is probably one of the fewest taxes in the world that are actually popular with the taxpayers.
Karen Dubsky is the international coordinator of the NGO Coastwatch. For the past 25 years, she has been studying the sorts of pollution that affect the coasts of Ireland.
And that is an egg case of a skate, which is beautiful.
And here, yeah, you find these tiny bits of plastic everywhere.
So the first thing these baby fish see would actually be little bits of plastic. Something which we have to stop.
On Wexford Beach, where the rocks resemble a human face looking out to sea, she has made her own observations. Similar monitoring is carried out in 23 other member states of the European Union. She has therefore been able to observe the effectiveness of the levy in the field. Single-use plastic bags have practically disappeared from Irish beaches.
In 2000, the average was around 19 plastic bags per 500 meters. It's now 2. Very, very good compared to Mediterranean countries where it has remained high because there's no tax.
As well as consumers, tradesmen are controlled to ensure that the levy, the Plastax as it is called, is indeed enforced.
I'm about to go to a small shop in a small rural village. And I'm going to walk in unannounced and see if they charge me the correct charge for a plastic bag. And just to let you know that you have passed with flying colours.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Since the introduction of the levy in Ireland in 2002, the consumption of single-use plastic bags has decreased from 328 per inhabitant per year to just 18, a reduction of nearly 95%.
So people went to this bag rather than the single-use plastic bag virtually overnight. Whether the Irish experience is transportable depends, I think, very, very much on the culture of the individual member states. So I think it'll vary. Some will go a different route.
Approximately 10 years ago, other European countries approached the problem of single-use plastic bags from a different angle. They did not go down the taxation route. They opted for other strategies. In Luxembourg, for example, identical logoless, reusable plastic bags were distributed to shops, whatever their brand, all over the country, on the same day and at the same price. The result was an immediate 90% reduction in the use of disposable plastic bags.
Il fallait quelqu'un qui commence. Celui qui est le premier à retirer les sacs à usage unique, ou bien qui les rend même payants, il est sûr qu'il va perdre des clients qui vont partir alors à la concurrence.
In Luxembourg, however, there is a company in charge of packaging for large and small brands. It is this company that has now taken charge of the logistics of distributing reusable plastic bags, and which participated in their national launch. Another original touch on reusable bags in Luxembourg is that they bear a logo, saying that when they are worn out, they can be returned to the shopkeeper for recycling and will be replaced free of charge to the customer. The quality of the Luxembourg strategy earned it the EU's Best Practice Award for its effectiveness and, above all, its originality. The environmental impact of single-use plastic bags is a matter of concern to all member states these days. Bulgaria is currently one of the greatest consumers of these bags in Europe, at a rate of 438 bags per inhabitant per year. In other words, there is still a huge amount of work to be done. Stoyan Yotov is a biodiversity expert. Following the great spring cleaning campaign traditionally carried out in Bulgaria, here he is in the bed of the river that crosses Sofia. His findings are revealing.
You see, the garbage is again accumulating, even though a few months ago it was maybe above my head, a very, very polluted place. But you see, even after the cleaning, the garbage is accumulating again.
It is therefore a matter of urgency that consumer behaviour be changed, both within and outside of cities. Stoyan Yotov uses the Utocha Nature Reserve as a yardstick to measure the extent of the damage.
For example, plastic bags which contain food attract animals like bears, which we have here in the park. So this is increasing the possibility of contacts and of attacks. Why not? I mean, even attacks from bears to people.
These two Bulgarian government-appointed controllers are a sign that things are starting to change. They regularly go into department stores to analyse the type of bags they distribute. If they are not strong enough to be reused, they are taxed.
Bulgaria also wants to face the problem with single-use plastic bags. In fact, we have already started. Of course, as the other member states, we have made already our first steps, and we intend to go further.
To encourage all member states to reduce their consumption of single-use plastic bags, the European Commission made a legislative proposal. This requires member states to take action to reduce the consumption of lightweight plastic bags, and it broadens the range of tools available to them to achieve this.
Everything will depend on the level of ambition of member states. Now member states will have a broader range of instruments available. They will be allowed to implement marketing restrictions, including bans. And this is an essential aspect in the proposal. It means that environmental protection prevails over internal market objectives. Now it is up to member states to take effective action and to be ambitious.